Controversies over the legacy of racism in America have even flared up criticism of the image of Jesus Christ. Last month, Sean King, an activist with the Black Lives Matter movement, wrote on Twitter, "All murals and stained glass windows of white Jesus and his European mother and their white friends should also come down. They are a gross form of white supremacy." Joining us now to give us more insight on this subject is Elizabeth Lev, art historian and author living in Rome. Liz, so good to see you again. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Liz, so talk about how Jesus has been depicted over the centuries.
Well, I think what's really interesting is that there have been arguments about how Jesus has been depicted over the centuries. I mean, there was a whole question about whether or not to depict Jesus to begin with, and then how to depict him. We find basically Christians started making images in the 3rd century AD, and they started to make images of Jesus. They used symbols. They were so nervous about it. Everybody knows the fish symbol or the good shepherd or the key row. And then they gradually began to create an image that would be more of an idea than an actual physical likeness of Christ. So we would have a youthful image to represent a god or a bearded image to represent a teacher. So the image of Jesus was in flux for many, many centuries.
Do we really know what he looked like? And do you think it's wrong to portray him or the Holy Family with a different nationality?
I think it's a really important question. What did he look like, and how worried we are about what he looked like? Because after all, the gospel is very descriptive, and yet it's not descriptive about what Jesus looked like. And as a matter of fact, ideas about what Jesus looked like don't really come into vogue until the image of the Shroud of Turin and the Holy Veil, which starts circulating in the Middle Ages, and people start thinking about the historical face of Jesus. So this idea of what Jesus looks like is something that really is a later manifestation. Insofar as what somatic features Jesus has, whether Jesus is white, if he's black, if he's Asian, we have to bear in mind where the highest amount of artistic production regarding images of Jesus took place. It took place in the Mediterranean and eventually moved its way up into Europe. So we shouldn't be surprised if a Michelangelo, a Raphael, a Leonardo, a Botticelli makes Jesus in an ideal form based in his world. But when images of Jesus go to other countries, Jesus begins to morph and change into the ideal form of those nationalities.
Liz, we don't have a lot of time, but I'm curious, has artwork of Christ been important to evangelization over the years?
Artwork of Christ is fundamental to evangelization. That's, in fact, the reason why the Christians decided to make images of Jesus. And when those images of the Madonna and Child or the suffering Christ went around the world, the fundamental message is the Word became flesh. God became man. He took on human form, not so much to be concerned about what his eyes or color or hair looked like, but the fact that he understands our human experience. So whether the image of Jesus suffering on the cross has the face of an African or an Asian, the most important thing is that everybody in the world can feel united to a Jesus who understands human suffering, a God who knows what every single human being goes through. And this is what art allows us to do.
Liz, thank you so much for your insight. I always appreciate it. Elizabeth Lev, art historian and author. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.